Hello and welcome again to another edition of our Alignable Technology Industry Group Microsoft Productivity Power Hour. My name is William McBurr, and I am the lead for the Alignable Technology Industry Group. We do this event on a monthly basis because we know that a lot of small businesses on the platform use Microsoft 365. And as our resident experts here can share, most small businesses that use this technology do not really get the most out of it or even take advantage of a lot of its capabilities. So within the technology industry group, we provide this monthly training event for small businesses that use Microsoft 365. I'm pleased to be joined today by Nakia and Harry Carter. And they're going to be our presenters for this session. They lead this event on a monthly basis. Nakia and Harry, thank you so much for volunteering your time. We know that this is such an important topic for all of us small business owners. I use Microsoft 365 within my business, and I use it for I probably use it for 20% of what it can do for me, using email, using OneDrive, using a little bit of SharePoint. So I always look forward to this event to learn how I can take better advantage of the platform. So thank you again for being here, and the floor is yours.
All right, thank you so much. Just need the slides up. All right, so as William said, thank you so much for joining this month's Alignable Microsoft Productivity Power Hour based on Microsoft Office 365. We have this meeting every Tuesday, and today's meeting is December's meeting. So next slide, please. Just to give you a background again on what we're going to be covering for this Power Hour. The topics will be around Microsoft Office 365, as well as the components therein like SharePoint and Teams and Forms, and then things that are kind of related but not necessarily in the platform, such as Power Apps and Power Automate that can be added into the platform to be used. It will be coming from a perspective of end users and business owners. And today we're also going to do a little bit of citizen development. So there'll also be some of those types of sessions, starting with the one today. So the session is monthly. We have demo with Q&A. So you can ask your questions, put them in the chat. And there's a question of the month. So if you have a question that you would like to, or topic that you would love for us to go through, we would love to hear about it. We have a QR code for you to submit for the survey for that. And then for, and the topic request. So those topic requests, we can also have the question of the month out of those topic requests. So the next slide, please. So I'm going to be your co-host and speaker today, but I also have my co-CEO as well being co-host today. So I'll be going over the demo portion, some of the beginning parts of the slides, the demo portion, and I will close us out. And Harry will be doing, so you can go to the next slide to introduce yourself, Harry. He will be going over some of the bulk of the slide info. All right, so next. Okay. We would love it if you could keep your cameras on during this presentation. It's not mandatory, especially if you don't want to be caught especially if you don't mind being caught on the recording. It's not mandatory, but if you don't want to be a part of the recording and or you don't want us to, you don't want to be on the camera, feel free to not be on the camera and use the chat window if you have questions. All right, next up. So we have to give this disclaimer every time we have this type of event where we're talking about the cloud. The cloud technology is constantly being updated. It's Microsoft cloud technology, but every cloud is constantly being updated. So sometimes there may be things that have moved. since the last time that we looked, or it might be different than what our slides look like since the last time we captured it. So please excuse any inconsistencies between our slides and the portal, as well as any fumbling we might do trying to figure out where a button moved, if it moved. Next slide. Okay, now I believe this is where Harry is going to take over.
All right, thank you very much, Nikia. So this is our presentation overview. We'll be discussing today SharePoint, Power Apps, Power Automated, and what they can do for you. Then we'll dive into each tool individually, discussing their features, use cases, and finally we explore how these tools can work together to create powerful workflows and custom solutions, then see an example of it in action. And if you've been with us for the last 2 or 3, sessions, you learned that SharePoint is a web-based collaboration platform that integrates with Office 365. It allows for users to store, organize, share information within your organization. SharePoint can be used to create document libraries, lists, and workflows, among other features. These tools can help organizations manage their documents, streamline business process, and collaborate more effectively. It can be used to create custom workflows, automate tasks, and improve communications among team members. Another part will be Power Apps, which we have spoke about before. But Power Apps is a platform that allows users to create custom business apps and integrate with other Microsoft tools, such as SharePoint and Excel. To provide a seamless user experience, Power Apps can be used to create custom forms, dashboards, and mobile apps. It's a flexible and easy to use platform that can help organizations create custom business apps quickly and easy. It can be used to create custom forms, dashboards, mobile apps. With Power Apps, organizations can streamline their workflows and improve productivity. Power Automate, also between these two, can formerly known as workflows, is a tool that allows you to create automation workflows between 2 different applications and services. It integrates with other Microsoft tools such as SharePoint, Power Apps to provide a seamless user experience. It's a powerful tool that can help organizations automate their workflows, improve efficiencies. This will allow organizations to streamline their process and reduce the amount of time and effort required for repetitive tasks. Now, using SharePoint, Power Apps, and Power Automate can be put together in one and used all together and create a powerful workflow and custom solution. For example, you could use Power Automate to create a custom form to submit data to a SharePoint list. You can then use that Power Automate to automate tasks such as sending an email notification when a new item is added to that list. With these tools, you can create custom solutions that meet unique needs of your organization. When using together, SharePoint, Power Apps, and Power Automate can create powerful workflows, custom solutions that can improve efficiency and productivity. For example, you can use a Power App to create a custom form that submits share. Oh, sorry, I just went on that list. So now that you heard about all 3 today, we're going to show you how they could be put together into one solution. So now it's demo time. And I will pass it over to Nikia.
All right, about to share my screen.
And how do I stop sharing? There we go.
There's a question in the chat.
Okay. Uno momento, it's coming up.
All right, the question is, what license level is needed for Power Apps and Power Automate?
Okay. So we got a question on licensing. So it depends on the base level of Office 365 you have. E3 and E5 already have Microsoft Power Apps and Power Automate. You can get a free version that could come with that. But then there's also the Pro version and I forget what the other one, Premium for Power Automate, and the Pro version for Power Apps. For the Pro version for Power Apps, it basically gives you more of being able to do the so we're going to be looking at more of the Canvas side. There's another side, the model-driven apps. In order to use model-driven apps, you need the upgraded license. You can do simple workflows, a lot of the workflows that we're going to be talking about with the Power Automate free version. But there are some things that if you needed to pull in, like automate different connectors, if you need to use Fabric, if you need some extended capabilities, then you'll have to upgrade your licensing. Hopefully that answers that. Okay, so I'm about to get into this demo and just trying to get this thing done. Okay, all right. So right now what I'm looking at, oh, let me move this up to the top. Right now, what I'm looking at is a SharePoint intranet. So excuse me if I keep looking up and down. I have two screens and one's above the other. So last time that we talked, last time we had this session, we looked at SharePoint and some of the things that it can do. Some of the things it can do, like building lists out, building libraries for containing different points of information, like your spreadsheet information or different files that might be related to certain things. But today we're going to look at actually creating or using a SharePoint list that will be like your spreadsheet, that will collect some expense information from folks from your organization. So say this is your intranet for your organization, and you have folks that want to be able to submit their business expenses. So the first thing that you would do is you would need the list. And then on top of the list, you could put the Power App and then add the automation, the workflow features using Power Automate. So for this session, we're going to use more of the custom forms variable or way of creating these apps and workflows. And in our next session next month, we're going to expand on that and create mobile apps, that'll be available from your mobile phone, as well as add more levels to the workflow and make it more complicated. All right, so this is going to be the list for people to submit their reimbursement from an organization. So say somebody's laptop breaks, they need to go out and buy another one. The company is like, you can go buy it, submit the receipt, or submit the request to get the money, and then we'll give you the money for the thing. So in this list I've already created, it already has a title field or column, the item name, which would be the name of the item that they're going to get, a description, the item URL, and I'm also going to add another column here. So, and I'm going to rename this one. So the column that I want to add would be one for the amount, because we need to record the amount of money. So I'm going to click add column. I'm going to choose a currency column, hit next. I get the little fly out right here. And this is where I can add, say amount. Okay. Now the type that I want it to be is currency, so I'm gonna leave it there. I want it to be currency, so I want those 2 decimal places because that makes sense. The currency format, you have a bunch of different format types that you could use, but we're gonna keep it on the US dollar. There won't be any default value because I want folks to be able to enter a value And I'm also going to make this a required field so that somebody has to enter a value, but there's no default value already there. Okay. So I'm going to click Save. Now, I didn't really talk about this the last time, but we'll go over it really quickly. These are the types of columns that you can add. So say you have a spreadsheet of data and each of those rows, each of those columns in your spreadsheet would take in each row a specific piece of data, a specific type of data. This is how you can kind of make those same types of decisions that you make with your data on your spreadsheet by adding the different types of columns that you want. So you can have one for text, you can have ones for choice, for date, time, or for just date, multiple lines of text. You have your person. So the person one will help you pull out people that are actually in your organization and be able to add that to a form if you wanted to. Number, the yes, no, so a toggle switch for yes or no. Hyperlink, currency, as we just saw. Location, so you can add like a location address and it will actually show up as a little location representation like you see on Bing Maps and Google Maps. Image, so if you need to upload an image into that. These manage metadata lookup, I'm going to skip those two because those are fairly advanced, but then there's the average rating that you might also want to use. So right now our list is almost right, except for right here, title doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I'm going to change this. Instead of it saying title, I want it to say short description. So you can also change the names of the fields as you see fit, as things work for you. So I'm going to hit save. So now I have a complete way to add or to ask for, or actually to submit this data. So if I hit the new item, I get a form that I could fill in. And this form's fields represent the columns that we created. So there's short description, which was the title that I just renamed, item name, the item URL, sign off status, the amount, and that's it. Okay. So there's going to be a few different things here that we want to do. So if I want to say, you know, replace work future. Okay, so I'm a person about to submit a request, a reimbursement expense request for my work computer. So the item that I want to get is going to be a Surface 5 laptop. Now I have to fill in all the fields that have these red asterisks by it, because if I don't and I try to hit save, like there's a red asterisk right there. If I try to hit save, it's going to say you can't leave this blank. So you have to fill in all the required things, like the description as well. So let me fill in the description. I have a little pencil here because it's going to give me the ability to do things like change the formatting of the words that I'm adding into this request. So I'm going to say laptop loss on, let's say today, 3 December 2024, approved by my manager. Okay, now we could make this a whole lot more complicated, but again, for this demonstration, we're going to make a simple request out of, for this example. So I already looked up the Amazon, the Surface Book on Amazon so that I could get the URL real quick. So I'm just going to copy the link and I'm just going to go back to my form and fill in the hyperlink so the person that is going to approve this thing, they can actually click the link and see what it is that I'm trying to get. So this first part of the URL is to enter the actual URL. So I put that there. And then I can add some alt text here. So I could say Amazon, Amazon link. I'll just say Amazon link. Okay. All right. I'm not going to bother the sign off status. That's going to be for later. But there is this, that would be for later. So now I need to add amount for this thing. This thing is 646. So I'm going to add that to here, 646. I don't have to add the .0 as long as it's a number that has that. It will be converted into that later. So my form is filled out. Please note that I also had a little bit of a description here to let me know what I need to put into this field. So for example, this is for physical items reimbursement, not for travel and entertainment type reimbursement. So just letting people know what is expected in this type of form to be submitted. So now I'm going to hit save. And as you can see, it's now entered into my list like a row of data in your spreadsheet. So I have that I'm going to need to replace my work computer, that it's a Surface laptop, that's my description, that's the link to the item, and that's the amount. Now that's pretty cool and everything, but we can make it even better by layering on more. So what we're going to layer on here first is the form. So in this example, we're going to use the customization of each of this list for the workflow as well as for the form. The customization means that they're going to be basically simple and tied directly to the list, and that those things can be used through the list, but we don't have any like real special ones like having a mobile app. A special mobile app that we might want to do, or for the Power Automate part when I'm automating the workflow. When I do the customization, I can only do simple workflows, but the next session we will do more advanced, but we're going to keep it to the simple for this one. So first we're going to integrate in the Power app. And the way we're going to do that is by creating a new one. So we're going to go into integrate, and we're going to go to Power Apps, and then we're going to customize forms. Like I said, we're not going to create a full standalone app that can be used on mobile and web. We're going to use one that's mostly going to be used through the web. So we're going to click on Customize Forms. And I get the studio will open up, and I'll get the ability to make my form pretty, as well as change some things around. As soon as it comes up. Yeah, sometimes it takes a little bit to load. It's taking me through the paces today. Okay, looks like it's about to be finished. Oh, yep, about to be finished. Okay. Voila. Okay, you might be like, this ain't pretty. Well, we're going to make it pretty. So we're going to do some things to customize this form so that it looks a bit better and we can use it. So I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to add all the rest of the fields that we saw into this form. So we had the title field, which actually I renamed it. I'll have to rename it again, but I won't do it for this demonstration unless we have enough time. I'll add the rest of the fields. So let's see, it was item, name, description, the URL, and the amount. So let me go back to the studio, and we're going to look for item name first, so we can have them in the right order. Short description, whoopsie, where? Oh, description. Sorry, the internal name is description for it. The description, dang, I just threw myself off. So let me go back and look again. So yes, the item, the description, the URL, and the amount. So let's look for the URL. URL and the amount. And then add them. Now I added them in a specific order, but I could always change things around so that, like, maybe I want the URL to be above the description. I can just grab this card from this flyout window and move it up, and then it would be above the description, as we see here. But I don't want that, so I'm going to put it back. Whoops, I'm going to put it back where, well, let me do it this way. I'm going to put it back where it was. Okay, but I can reorder the form. And I could do some things like make some of these boxes look a little bit better. So say, for example, the description right here. This came across in a mode. So right now what I'm doing is I clicked on this actual description box. It's supposed to be a multi-line of text. And if I look at it here, it just says that the data type is text. So now I have to go and change the property. And I do that by clicking on the actual field itself. It opens up the properties pane. And if the properties pane isn't open, you just click on this thing right here, and that opens the properties pane. And then you can change the mode down here from single line of text to multi-line of text. Now it's a multi-line of text, and it made the box a little bit bigger, but I want to make it even bigger. So I'm going to just stretch it. Now you can do where you can set this height instead of doing a stretch. You can actually set the size, the height right here, to a specific number amount if you want, or you could just do the stretch like I just did a second ago. Now, what I really want to concentrate on here is making this a little bit more pretty. But before I do that, I just want to explain one more thing. When you have the Power App, it always brings across all of the, when you have a Power App and it's on a rich text box, which I had where you can use the formatting when you enter the description. So I had to click on the little pencil and I saw the little formatting things like bold, italics, and all of that. It brings over all of the code that comes with that, all of the formatting code that comes with it. There is a way to get rid of this and make it look nice and pretty the way it should look. But for now, because we're just doing a simple demonstration for now, I'm going to leave this the way it is at this moment, but we will clean this up in the next session. All right. So now I want to give my form a header. Like, say, for example, I want something up here to make it a little bit more colorful and inviting. So I might want to insert a picture. Where's the image? Okay, I'm going to have to type it. So sometimes you might not see the option that you want. So you actually can type it in right here up at the top. So I could say image, click on that. And I get this box right here where I can add my image. I'm going to move it up into the header section and resize it a little bit. And then I'm going to add my image into this by clicking on the edit button. When I click on the edit button, I get to change the image. I can use an existing image if I had any, stock images if I want to use the stock images, or upload an image. So I'm going to go to the stock images and just pick out a little pretty image to put here. Let's see if they have one for expense. If not, we can make one for maybe dollars, money. Okay, no money. Let's see. No dollar. Oh, that's weird. Okay, maybe under stickers. Well, doesn't matter. I'll just use one of these stickers. Let's just say this one. So it doesn't really match with the expense type, but because they don't have an expense one here, for whatever reason, I'm going to use something a little wacky. Now that kind of gives me this header section. It gives me a little color with this picture, but I need a, what is this thing here? So I need to add some text. I'm going to add a text label. Move that over here. Whoopsie. It was just centered. There we go. Going to extend this out a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to give this thing some text because I don't want it to just say text. I want it to actually be actual text, the actual text that I need it to be. So I'm going to the properties pane for this thing. The properties pane is open. And I'm going to add it, name it, excuse me, expense reimbursement. Like we saw on in the list when we were in the list in SharePoint. All right. So now the word is changed since I clicked off of it. And I clicked off just so you could see the word change. But this is cool and everything, but I really need this to be like centered so I can make some adjustments. I can make it centered. I can make it bigger. So let's say 18. That might be too big. Oh, actually, it's pretty good. 18, we can make it bold. So change the font's weight to bold. Okay. So now it's looking okay. But I want the color for the font to be changed. So we got to come down to this section. And the font color, here we go, is right here. So if I wanted to match more of the logo look, like maybe I pick out this green. There we go. All right. So there we go, just kind of a little different header on the top. Okay. I can also make some other changes, like maybe this is too big. Like the sections on the form, I want some of these to be next to each other. So I'm going to change the columns from 1 to 2. And then I'd have to make some adjustments. So now I have the title, the item name, which these can be short. This is still going to need to be long. So I'm going to make the change to lengthen that back out. The same thing with the URL, just in case it's a long URL, but I'll leave the amount the same, same spacing. So what I have to do now is click on what's called the whole card for this thing for description. And then I make its width longer. Actually, I think I could just pull it out too. Yeah, actually make it easy for myself and just pull it out. But if I knew the size, I could put the width right here of 444, and it would adjust it for me. So say, for example, if I go to this card right here, and I want to do the same, like I said, make it longer, make it stretch across the form, enter the amount, hit enter, and there you go. All right. Now there's another thing I need to do before I really get off of here, and I want to make a couple more pretties to this form. And that is to make this form be in new mode. So every time I open this form, it'll open so that I can enter new data as opposed to seeing old data that was already there. And I'm going to do a couple of things that's going to make this a little bit more pretty. So we tend to add like a shape, like a rectangle. Change that rectangle's color. First of all, make it pretty itty bitty like that. and then change the rectangle's color. So the properties are already open. Click this. I'm going to change the rectangle's color to the color of the logo. And then I move that down here under the form. So this is how we kind of make it add a little bit of pop to the look of the field. Same thing with the title. So if I want to make this a little bit more stand out, I want to make this bigger, maybe make it 12. So you see how it got bigger? Maybe make it bold and change the color. Yeah, well, maybe not that color, maybe dark blue color. So you kind of get it. This is the ways I can make some changes and make the form look more nice, format it in the way that I want it to be formatted. But I'm going to leave it here except for to change the title, actually. So for the title, for the changing the label on a card that's already here, if I click on it, you see the text. So I could change it here, but I can't because there's like a lock symbol here. So I have to unlock it. And once I click on the lock, it'll take me to the place where I click to unlock it, which is on the advanced panel. So I click unlock and I go back to the display. And now I can actually, well, actually put it up there for me to make the changes up here. So I'll make the changes up here. Now, because it's text, it has to be in quotes. So the name was a short description. Short description. Okay, in quotes. Okay. So again, now you're seeing some of the formatting and everything. I'm not going to format the whole form because that would take a bit more time. So I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to publish it to SharePoint, and then we're going to look at SharePoint. So I'll publish it to SharePoint. Wait for it a little bit. I think it did it. Yeah, I think it did it. Sometimes it doesn't. Oh yeah, it doesn't give that swirly thing like it used to anymore. Okay, so I could hit the back to SharePoint button, which would take me back to SharePoint, but I could just close it and open up this tab because it's already open. I'm going to refresh the page just to make sure that my SharePoint list form that I just created, just made all custom and pretty, is now available. When I click the add new item, my new form will pop in. Okay. Now this one's URL is a little bit different in that when I add the URL to it, let's say copy, I don't get the two pieces that I got before. Okay. I don't get the two pieces of the URL that I got before. I just get the ability to input the URL. So I can add some more stuff. Surface Book. Now he wants the Surface Book 5 too. Oopsie. Also in the description, I don't get all of the, because I didn't set it right now, the way this field is looking at it as plain text. So I don't get the rich text. There's a way to turn that on, but I didn't turn it on. So I'm going to leave this as the plain text and just say, my computer is on its last legs. Need new. Okay, the amount we saw was this amount, so we're going to leave it at that. Now my buttons for saving the thing are up here. I could have added a save button here, but I don't need to. That again will be on one of our more fancy forms the next time we get together. I can just hit the save button here and you will see a new line up here. Whoops, I called Harry Hair. So I guess Hair needs a new laptop. There's the second item. Now let's give some workflow automation to this. Again, we're going to use the simple workflow automation and customize by going to integrate, go to Power Automate this time. Whoops, wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. Go to Automate, go to Rules. So the first one is the create a rule. And then we can create a rule to notify people. So say, for example, when a new item is submitted, we want, so I'm going to click when a new item is submitted, the thing to be sent to me. So I can choose me, or I can type in somebody else's name to be sent to. But for this example, so that we can see the email address, I'm going to choose me and hit create. All right. So now I have a rule. That rule is on. It was created by me to send the email to me when an item is created. So if I were to create a new item right now, we'll name it the same thing just because I think I still have the URL. Let me put the URL in there. Yep. Okay, now I'm going to save this one. And now that we have a new item after I've initiated this rule, which is basically a workflow, it's a small, very small workflow that's just going to send an item notification, a notification that a new item was submitted. So while I'm waiting for that to come in, because it takes a minute for the email to come through, I'm going to do another one. And this time under automate, we're going to configure some approval. So, you know, when you're having these types of things, and this is an expense, you don't probably just want people to know that somebody submitted one. You want somebody to be able to approve it as well. So we can configure approvals under automate, and we just turn it on. Okay. Now what it says here is turning it on adds the approval column into the view. So we apply, and we get this approval column. Now that was that field that we were seeing on the SharePoint form at first. There's a way to remove it, but because I didn't realize it was still there, it was showing up in the list even after I had turned off the approval. But I'm turning it back on now, and you can see that all of these have been submitted to the list, but they haven't been submitted for approval yet. So let's take maybe my first one, this one, and I want to submit it for approval. So I'm going to go to it, and then I'm going to go down to the, where is it? Where's the approval thing? Okay, well, they used to be on here, but I don't see it anymore, but it's still up here on the action bar. So you just check the checkbox next to the item just by clicking on it like that, hover over, you'll see the checkbox, and you can click on it. And then there's the request approval. So when I click on this button, it's going to say that I want to have somebody approve my request. I'm going to send it to me again so that I can see it. Okay. I'm only going to do one, but if I did multiple, I could say that I want this request to be, that it has to be approved by all approvers in order for it to go forward, but I really only want one person to approve it in this situation. Details I could put in, please approve my request ASAP. My computer is dead. Okay. And then I hit submit. Okay. And then you'll see it's saying we're creating the approval request. And then this is going to change in a second. And then we can go look at the email for the, okay, approval request created, said that it's requested. We'll go look at my email now and see what we have. All right. So this first one is for the notification. So remember when we first sent a notification out, we wanted it to just be sent when a new item was created, send it to just me. So that's what this email looks like. It's just saying that, notifying the person that the item was created, and then they can go to the item by clicking this link and it will take them directly to the item. Now I'm waiting for the approval one, which I could have swore I just, oh, there it is. Thought I saw it come across, but it's being a little slow, of course. Oh, wait a minute. No, this is another notification. Where did the approval go? No, I just saw it come across a second ago, and then I'm not seeing it here. At least I thought I saw it. Let me check something. Okay, I don't know why it's taking so long for it to come across. But the other way we might be able to see it is through the Teams. Which, dang, I'm not even, move out the way. There we go. Okay, I'm trying to switch on my other screen to see if it came through there so I can at least show you what it looks like somewhere. Come on, man, why are things being so slow? Apologies, my team froze. Okay, it just moved. Okay. All right. So I'm adding it. I just added the approval app. I'm sorry, I should have shown you what it looked like. But when I saw that it was showing up there, I added the approval app to my Teams, and there I can see the request and where it came from and who it was sent by and who it was sent to, which was basically me again. But I'm also supposed to get an email. It's just taking forever to come across. In this dashboard in Teams, though, I can look at all the approvals that I have for me, and I can actually approve it from Teams as well as approving it from SharePoint. So I could go here and approve, and this is in Teams. Or I can go to approval details by clicking on the thing that's requested, check the checkbox, hit the approval details. I can also approve or reject it here. And like I said, you also get an email, but for some reason it's taken forever to come across. Even though I saw it, it must have gotten, I don't know, something happened to it. But you normally get the email as well. You get to see that it's pending, who it's requested by. You can add your comments like go forth and buy. Approve it. Now it's approving it. And you can see that the status has now been changed to approve. So we looked at how we could have a SharePoint list that's kind of like a spreadsheet, grabbing data in each row, where we can have, say, in this example, a reimbursement expense type tracker, where these reimbursements can be submitted by different folks that are in your organization, have access to this SharePoint portal. They can submit their expense requests. They have a nice pretty form to interact with that more things can be done to interact with it. We also initiated workflow, very simple workflow, but workflow for notification that sends an email out when a new item is created. And we also had a workflow for approval for the approvals. So you can see we had a couple of different workflows, as well as the SharePoint list, as well as the Power App, all working together to create a custom solution that can help your organization with collecting expense reimbursement at a request, as well as other types of things like time off requests, inventory, submitting marketing efforts. Lots of different applications across all industries can be created here, just depending on what the need is and how you want it to look. So that's it for the demo part of this session. So, all right, let's round out with the slides, unless you want me to go ahead and share them now.
Thank you very much. I will go ahead and share. There you go. So best practice. What are the best practices?
Okay, we can see your slides and everything. I'm not sure if we lost you.
No, I'm still here.
Okay. Are you gonna go to the next slide?
Yeah, I'm trying to. There we go. Okay. All right. To effectively implement a collaboratory platform, organizations should define clear objectives and requirements, establish governance policies, provide adequate training and resources, and continually monitor and evaluate its uses. A collaboratory platform can be integrated with other tools and systems such as Microsoft Teams, Power Apps, Dynamics 365 to enhance collaboration and productivity. Emerging trends in collaboratory platforms include an increased use of cloud-based solutions, enhanced mobile capabilities, integrated with artificial intelligence, machine learning, and technology. So if you had noticed, then Copilot has been added into Power Automate and Power Apps. So there's different ways that you can do these things, which you will learn over time. In conclusion, SharePoint, Power Apps, and Power Automate are powerful tools that can help organizations streamline their workflows, automate tasks, and improve productivity. By using these tools together, organizations can create custom solutions that meet their unique needs and improve efficiencies. So thank you for joining us for this presentation, and I'll hand it over to you, Nakia, to close us out.
Okay. Well, as we're closing out, just want to let y'all know that we have a couple of promos. So if you need help with these things, you have forms that you might have in your organization that are paper or legacy type PDF, Word type forms, and you need help getting them into your SharePoint system. You already have Office 365 and you want to modernize so that you can get the most efficiency, better data management, and all of that. We have a promo for 50 forms for $15K, which is $300 a form. And normally that's around $500. This type of work is around $500 to $2,000 a form. So awesome deal here, as well as our intranet build out. So if you have Office 365 and your SharePoint's looking a little, SharePointy and not really doing what you need it to do for your organization, you need for communication, you need to build up your the places where you're keeping this data, having your custom apps, forms, things like that. We have a build out package that we have for 10K, where we give you about 50K worth of development work. So again, another great promo. Next slide. If you have any questions or topics you would love us to discuss the next time, we'd love for you to use that QR code to help us and fill out the form to help us understand what it is that you would like to see next. Or if you have any questions that we didn't answer, or you have any questions later, you can always ask through this form. Last slide. So thank you so much for joining us. It looks like we had all of our questions answered in the chat so far, but if there are any other questions, we definitely have a few minutes for those questions to be asked. Also on the slide that you're seeing, there's the QR codes for visiting our website, for visiting us on LinkedIn, for scheduling a meeting with us if you'd like to talk to us. Also a QR code for getting the slides for today, for signing up for our newsletter, and that QR code that we just looked at a little bit ago for the topics or questions. Anybody have any final questions before we close? All right.
So if there are
okay, so I think we're ready to close out, Will.
If there are no questions, I do have one quick one. Have we done one of these on Microsoft Teams?
Yes, we did one on Microsoft Teams. I think it was the second session, which is all up on our YouTube. So William has YouTube. So these sessions are in his YouTube as well as on our NTC Tech YouTube.
So one of the things that I'm going to start doing this week is just going back and just reposting all of the recorded events. The reason why I asked about Microsoft Teams is that I find is that I'm using that for a lot more than just meetings now. I'm using it for as a collaborative tools between external partners, internal teams, and there's more sort of integration being built. Microsoft is doing a pretty good job sort of integrating its various tools. And across a lot of our partnership collaborations, we've created teams in team for that, for texting and sort of document sharing, etc., etc. So I think that's a good resource. I'm going to make a note to go back and repost the recorded Microsoft Teams session. We are at time. Harry and Nakia, thank you so much for another very educational session. I look forward to getting the recording for this, cleaned up and posted for the group. So thanks again. I'll see you all in a month.
All right. See everybody. Have a great holiday seasons that are coming up.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
We will see you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.